Hi, Lee. It's such a pleasure to have this conversation with you. Lee Bradford, right? And we've had while you've been going through coaching with me over quite a while. So would love for people to hear what that has been like for you. So maybe you want to take us to, right, what happened? Where were you? What was the struggle when we first started to work together?
Yeah. Well, the struggle was that I was deeply grieving, and I'd lost my husband, followed shortly after by my mum, and and I just felt that the grief support that was available wasn't really touching me in any way because I was having to facilitate 4 children through their own grieving process. So I felt as if I was actually, or I became to realise that, although I was going with them to their appointments and assisting them, that I was really holding back and trying so hard to be strong for everyone. And I felt completely stuck. And I just felt as if I was carrying around a really heavy feeling. Um, and it was sad because, I was also still so in touch with this other side of me that loves life and, smiled and enjoyed things and wanted to learn. But I was just being held. It was like being held by something really, really heavy in my energy. So that's where I was.
Mm. And then what happened for you as a result of the coaching?
And then what happened for me as a result of the coaching was, it was incredible. I didn't have any notion of what to expect. I hadn't had, I didn't have any information beforehand, or hadn't spoken to anyone. I discovered you online, and but I had a really strong pull to, to that conversation, and to maybe this would be something that would help me. And so it was kind of, in the place that I was in, it was a kind of daring thing to do. It was quite daring, but I just knew that I had to step out where I was. And it was a mystery. And then as the coaching unfolded, well, I've got a huge belief of the mind and body being connected, and that, that my feelings can affect my physical health. And it had been picked up in my energy that there was something very heavy going on inside of me, almost to the point of needing to go sort of down the medical route to have investigations done. And then through the soul-based coaching and the being questions, I just entered another world. I entered somewhere so deep within myself, and it felt really safe being being held in that space by you, so that I could just go with the flow of letting what was happening unravel. And made huge discoveries within myself and within my physical body.
Yeah, well, it was quite something, wasn't it?
It really was something. I mean, it was so something that it almost feels, too incredible to talk about. But I think it's really important to share. And what I felt was that this grief that then stopped becoming just a word, and I felt it as an entire experience, and in my physical body, was that in my quest and the place I felt I was being brave from and being strong and trying to hold it all back, that I had stored it in my womb space, and that I could feel it there. It was becoming a something. And it was really comfortable being there, but I wasn't comfortable holding it there anymore, and it didn't feel it didn't feel a way forward in life. And so the unraveling of the session went on, and in this session, in my landscape, I gave birth to a snake, a very, very big, thick, coiled snake that had been happily growing in my womb. And I've never experienced anything like it in my life. Like, I can't think or touch base with anything that I've experienced like that in my life. And I had no idea that that's the way that it would go. I'm sure you didn't have any idea that was the way it was going to go.
No. This is the beauty of this work, right? Whatever needs to happen is what's going to happen. And it was such a deep initiation for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It was huge. And there were actually things I looked back on, reflected back on. And one of the things you asked me when we did this Skype session was that, was I comfortable where I was, or did I need to go and find somewhere that was more comfortable? And I can remember going around the house and having this strong pull to a corner of my daughter's bedroom, which isn't something, it's not a place I go, it's not somewhere I hang out or do anything there, but I was really drawn to this corner, and it just felt like this really safe space where this happening was going to happen. And yeah, the experience was it was intense and so deep, but not scary. It just felt as if something very, very, very natural was just unfolding step by step, and that I was being supported and guided and held. And the physical relief and the emotional relief afterwards was indescribable. I mean, I actually had to spend time. I allowed myself time. I honoured what had happened, and I think that's so important for me, and it continues to be important to me, to just honour and give myself time afterwards to just allow my whole system to be with what's happened.
Yeah, it was an. Oh, you have a little bit of background noise. It sounds like. Are you hearing that as well? No? Okay, so then I'm just going to ignore that. Yeah, it was such a beautiful initiation. As I said, it's the relief that was happening for you was so palpable, was so clear. What that journey, that part of the coaching journey for you, what has that made possible for you in your life?
Well, it's been so incredible because it had removed something from my system that I felt would have festered into or manifested into something festering within my body. So it's like it was having this huge, huge weight taken away from me and leaving me in a much clearer space to feel what I needed to feel, to touch base with these feelings and everything that was happening around grief, and to give myself, but to realise how important it was for me to give myself that time and tenderness that I was giving everyone else. It also gave me huge comfort. It gave me huge comfort that, I was finding it difficult being in the world without my loved ones. And it was just a comfort that I was now being able to find myself in this new position that I was in, and to be able to love, love my mum and love my husband and have an acceptance of their passing, that they were ready to go, even if I hadn't been ready for that. Everything just became more comfortable and easeful. And I wasn't so sort of heavy, and my energy just didn't feel so heavy anymore, which I'm sure had an impact on everyone around me, on children, and how we were interacting with each other.
Yeah.
I felt like all of those relationships began to improve, and that I was able to love them, and love me, and be tender to them and tender to myself.
It was such beautiful work, Lee, that you did. It was so touching and moving on so many levels. It was both brave, and it was the most natural thing in the world, wasn't it? It's from where I was sitting and from what was happening for you. That's definitely what it looked like. Yeah. So, given everything that you know now about soul-based coaching, who do you think would be great to work with me?
Who do I think would be great to work with you? Well, maybe not so much about the who. I think that it could be anybody. Anybody who has it doesn't have to be, I was going to say who has a problem or has an issue or has something that's kind of out of alignment in their life. Or even, and I'd really hasten to say, even curiosity, because it's such an incredible experience. So I don't think it's for specific people, specific problems. It's so broad because it is about the person.
Gorgeous. And of course, just to double check, has it been worth it for you, your coaching?
Absolutely. To know that this exists now, and to know that this is a way to deal with emotional, physical, any problem, any issue, a stuck idea, all of those things, to know that this is a way of doing it, compared to other, what you might compare, what you've known in terms of therapy or, ways of exploring. This really is at the top of my list. Yeah.
Gorgeously. Thank you so much for sharing this, and can't wait to see how you will unfold further, because of course it's always an ongoing journey and so much more that is blossoming in you now. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you so much.